You guys have been dying to know if Clearheart is worth it on Zinx, and I did a video about that just recently. Unfortunately, I did make a mistake, and I've gone much deeper into the effects of Clearheart and the implications of Clearheart in this video. My apologies for making the mistake. Trying to atone for myself here, and hopefully you guys can appreciate what I found. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a Paragon guide. I am Sylphin. In the background you're going to see some nice Zinx gameplay, and she's honestly pretty darn amazing. So we have Clearheart here, and it's a 5 CP growth card. You have 1 CP of mana regen on it, and that's it for stats. You then have 4 CP of a cost for that passive, but really, because there's no opportunity cost, you have a value cost of 5 CP, as you could get that 1 extra CP by going into another card. So that passive part of it is that increases all healing received by 15%. So all healing that you get, if you get 100, you now get 115. So that passive part of Zinx's ultimate, Dirty Healing, is what we have to play around here, and it's pretty awesome. So 50% of damage that you take as Zinx is healed when your active is on. It costs 1, 0.8, or 0.6 mana per point of healing. If we kind of run the math here, 50% healing plus 15% equals 57.7% healing. It's a 7.5% increase of damage. See, this is where I messed up, and I wanted to show this to you. Exactly what went wrong here. What I did was, yes, it is a 7.5% increase, but it's a 7.5% increase of the total damage And what I did was, unfortunately, I took what healing happened, and I added and I kind of did 7.5% of that. But really, it's 50%. What's 15% of that 15%? Not 7.5, when really it's 7.5 of the entire damage. Hopefully you guys understood that. Basically, I tricked myself, but this time I've made it right. We have the healing, and then 15% of that healing down below, all nice and toasty. So we're going to compare that healing we get from Clearheart to different things. 5 CP of health times 60 health per CP is 300 health. That's what we are comparing it to. And we're going to compare it to armor. 5 CP of armor is 40 basic or 30 ability armor. We'll talk about that later as to how that's going to work with everything. Now, hopefully I can explain this appropriately, and will all work out. So what I've done is I've compared hero level here on the left with their base mana pool and various amounts of healing that you get from your ultimate. So this is all when your ultimate is level 1. This, heal 2, 15%. 2 is the healing that you get when your ult is level 2. And this is healing when your ult is level 3. This is the juicy bits that we'll talk about very shortly. So basically, I want to know how much mana you use for the healing that you get. And of course, healing depends on how much damage you take. So really, it's just healing. It's just healing as 50% of the damage that you take. And then what's the mana cost of that? So this mana is just a handy-dandy way of being like, oh, I'm using this much mana. So when your ultimate is level 1, you do this amount of healing for this amount of mana. Obviously, you have to take twice this amount of healing to get it, as you only heal for 50% of the damage that you take. Now, 15% of the healing that you get increased is here from your level 1 ultimate. Your level 2 ultimate, you can only get at here levels 9, is 830 healing for 664 mana, and 15% extra that you get from Clearheart is 125 here if you heal for 830. Now your level 3 ultimate, much more efficient at its job here. Say at level 15 or at level 13, 876 mana. you're going to heal for 1460 by using that amount of mana. Obviously, you have to double that to see how much damage you need to take in order to heal from that. And then 15% healing of 1460 is here at 219. Now, what I did was I simply just added kind of CP's worth of mana just to see, like, hey, if you wanted to use more mana, or you know, want to include mana regen that Zinx definitely gets, you know, this is how much mana you can use for this amount of healing with the different levels of your ultimates. Obviously, probably not going to use this much mana when your ultimate is level 1, but I threw it in there anyways. So you can see if you somehow use 1400 mana towards healing, when your ult is level 3, you'll heal for 2337 health, and Clearheart will give you a bonus 351. Oh, now comes the complicated part. Now, I have to compare health, the healing, the added healing, the health that we would have had if we just had gotten just passive health instead of Clearheart, and the armor. I had to balance the equation. I had to convert everything into similar terms, so to speak, in order to compare them, an apples to apples comparison of them all. And because armor is in the mix, we have to think of EHP, and EHP all of a sudden implies a certain type of incoming damage and a certain ratio of incoming damage. So there are some assumptions here, and they have to be known. First off, we're using a 40% incoming basic damage split and a 60% ability damage incoming split. So it's a 40-60 basic ability damage incoming to you. I've talked to a fair number of competitive players now. They would agree that incoming damage favors ability damage, so that split is definitely fair. What I've also done is I've had to include base armor in these equations, the base armor of Zinx at various hero levels, the base health in there as well, because you have to consider base health if you're thinking of armor, and just cut in a lot of things. So hopefully that explains all of the questions you have. I've really tried to make this comprehensive since my last video. Obviously, I made some boo-boos. Now, 15%, you have to take this healing, the extra healing you receive from your ultimate, and convert it into EHP because Zinx has base armor. So how far does that health actually go? You can see that I only started at hero level 8, as really you shouldn't be getting Clearheart before that point anyways. 116 effective HP is what happens when you gain 92 extra EHP, and you can see various levels of effective EHP from the healing that you get. So again, you heal for damage, right? And you gain extra healing from Clearheart. Well, that extra healing gets extra value from your base armor. 300 EHP that you just get because you didn't get Clearheart, right? You just got 5 CP of health, also gets extra value from the base armor that Zinx has. So 300 EHP turns into 366 here at hero level 8 with her base armor, all the way up to 380 at hero level 15. You can't get more than that. 300 HP, it doesn't heal, it doesn't get more over time, it just sits there, and that's that. So 380, that is the maximum that it can get, right? Now, there's one thing, maybe I forgot to mention, is that added armor will affect the 15% healing the same as 300 HP. The 300 static HP you're going to get. It's going to have the same effect, so there's no reason for me to include that in here. What added armor will do, though, is it will diminish the 5 CP of armor we see here. It will diminish this, but remember, it's really not that significant. You have to add a lot of armor, a lot, like a ton of armor, in order to really start hitting that diminishing, the diminishing returns. So I did it, and it was negligible, so I chose not to include that diminished return point here, and that would just make everything even more complicated. 5 CP of armor, however, has to take into account that it also affects her base health pool as well. So once you run the numbers here, you can see that 5 CP of armor actually goes a long way. And I have to say, again, another thing that I have to do here is that what I did was I took 5 CP of armor and did the optimal split. Because it is a 40 incoming basic damage and a 60% incoming ability damage split, because of that split, I had to find the optimal distribution of armor for that incoming damage type and see what the increase was in EHP for that, and then write that down here. So it was a lot of work, and as you can see, it's actually really strong. I was really surprised by how much 5 CP of armor affects that extra healing that you get from this. And as you guys can see, take a look at this. Armor absolutely runs away with this simply because that base health pool as well. Zinx has that base health pool. She'll have this much extra healing, which is that much extra health. It's a ton. So that armor really just feeds off of that healing you get tremendously. It absolutely is very, very, very powerful, and I think armor just runs away with it. So as you can see, Clearheart here simply cannot catch up to armor at any point. Like, even if you spend, even if you heal for 4,137 damage, which remember, you have to somehow absorb that amount first, because you only heal for 50% of the damage taken. You still have to take the other 50%. That means that somehow your health pool has to absorb 4,137 damage after damage mitigation. It's still not going to work. It looks like Clearheart simply cannot compete with armor. So, some conclusions here. The payoff point for Clearheart is well beyond the realm of possibility in any realistic scenario. I don't know if you could, like, you're gonna have to need a cast converter, a massive health regen, a phase linked to you to heal you in order to somehow get 4,137 health in your health pool, to just balance everything out, to not die before you can actually heal that amount. You're gonna need to regen somehow 2,482 mana in order to get that before you're gonna die. Like, yeah, you might use that much mana over the course of a game, but you're also going to die, which then just straight up health, passive health, would have helped you more. It's simply beyond the realm of possibility in any realistic scenario. So a statement here, Clearheart simply cannot beat the accumulative effect armor has on increasing amounts of healing. It's simply not going to work. Armor just runs away with it because she gets so much health back and she's healing for so much. It's just not going to work. So there you guys go. Hopefully this was more helpful than the last one, more conclusive. It's taking armor into account, and it's just more realistic. It's a bigger, more in-depth look at Clearheart, and I hope you guys appreciate that. It was tricky, really tricky to think of everything. Hopefully I haven't missed anything once again. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think of this. Clearheart, yay, nay? Are you still gonna run it? What has your does your experience validate Clearheart? Have you played enough Zinx games to go, no, I can definitely tell that Clearheart makes a marked improvement over health, over armor, over other mana? Let me know down in the comments, please, as I would really love to know. As I'm sure other people would really love to know as well. Please like this video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, share it with the community, and of course, guys, subscribe. You guys like this content, especially if you found it useful. Please subscribe so I can do it for you in the future. If you would like to support me on a regular basis, please head on over to my Patreon account where you can make a pledge to help me do what I love. Till next time, like always, guys, stay optimistic and positive.